Ms. Norton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a question for Ms. Benford and Secretary Millar. A common theme of today's testimony is the need for more workers to build and maintain the projects funded by the Infrastructure and Investment and Jobs Act. I appreciate Mr. Millar's testimony regarding the growing participation of disadvantaged business enterprises in Washington State and Ms. Benford's discussion of her efforts to teach young students about construction sector career opportunities. Throughout my service in Congress, I have worked to increase workforce development opportunities for District of Columbia residents, including helping to establish an opportunity center at St. Elizabeth's in Ward 8 of the District of Columbia, and to help residents get jobs and apprenticeships at the Development of Homeland Security Headquarters Consolidation Project. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act included significant workforce policy changes, including reinstating local hire authority, allowing highway formula funds to be used for workforce development, and dedicating funds from every zero emission bus grant for worker training. Mr. Millar and Ms. Bedford as well, beyond what we have done in the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, what else should the committee be doing to support workforce development?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Norton. In Washington State, we have a robust pre-apprenticeship support services program that we're funding with state revenue today. Would love to use federal revenue in that space, but we have more flexibility with our state revenue. We're working with community colleges, we're working with ministerial alliances, we're working with Native American tribes, we're working with labor unions, we're working with contractors on getting people into the construction workforce. And that pre-apprenticeship support services work we do, the one I am most proud of right now is something we did called Youth Direct, where we partnered with the Iron Workers Union. We took young men and women who were aging out of juvenile justice and foster care. They turned 18, they would typically go out on the street. When they turned 18, these men and women came into our pre-apprenticeship support services program, and after 4 weeks, they graduated on Friday. On Monday, they were apprentice iron workers. And we provided them with first and last month's rent and security deposits, so they had a good paying job and a place to live. It cost us about $2,500 per individual, $2,500 per individual to run them through that program, which we got a little criticism for. And I like to point out to the critics that that's a lot less than it costs to be a guest of our Department of Corrections on an annual basis. So we know what we need to do. We need more and more flexible resources to do more work in that space. It's helping those individuals, and it's providing critical staffing for our contractors, for our maintenance crews at our agency and elsewhere in the construction sector.
Ms. Benford?
As a woman in this industry, the diversity topic is very dear to me. I can tell you that both the AGC and local chapters have taken on different ways to take on this challenge. The culture of care is one that the AGC of America has taken on, which really helps us contractors determine how to create an environment in the construction industry that everyone feels accepted. And I think keep echoing that this is something that we need to do, right? And make sure that what you can all do for us is make sure that we have the flexibility to do what is right in our state, because not one policy fits every single state and our workforce.
Mr. Millar, we're in the early stages of a transition to zero emission vehicles. Um, This past summer, the National Capital Regions Transit Agency received a $104 million grant from this Jobs Act. Mr. Millard, what additional actions should Congress take to smooth the transition to zero-emission vehicles?
Ms. Norton, I think the actions you've taken in the bipartisan infrastructure law, just sustaining that is the important thing to do. We are seeing more electric vehicle charging stations being installed. We're working with the trucking industry on electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. We're creating corridors, working with our colleagues in Oregon and Washington. We have a zero emission vehicle corridor on the Interstate 5 corridor. We're putting a heavy truck corridor in place in addition to that. So it's sustaining the effort over multiple acts is what's going to do it for us.
The gentlelady's time has expired. Mr. Webster.